This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Love hurts, love hurts, love hurts, love hurts. I don't wanna finish this thing that we started, but that choice has been made for me. I still feel you here, even though you've departed. The dust isn't quite settling. It's so sweet, holding on to hope, holding on to hope, holding on.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Wednesday. What qualifies it as a Whip 'em Out Wednesday, August the 12th of 2026. And we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
It's my kind of music.
I get the best mix of my favorite music.
All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse of ours, that is for sure. So how have you been? How's the last 24 or so been for you? Because it's always an important aspect of what we're talking about, that is for sure. So if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If this is your first time here, let's kind of talk about what the hell we do around here. We talk about safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of how we go about talking about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, and then we kind of go from there. Yep, that's the whole kit and caboodle of what the hell's going on. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options of the things that you get to do if you're so inclined to do so. If you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do that either. You can just hang out and take a listen to what the hell we have going on. Our show is a radio show that goes into a podcast network, that goes into a streaming setup, and then we also have some video aspects of what's going on where we are on all the major social media aspects of what the hell's going on. So there you go. That's it. That's kind of what we do. I do bring in some professional broadcasters for them to talk exactly what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because this is kind of the thing to do around here. So if you're good with this, I am good with it as well. I will bring in my friends from Feature Story News. They'll come in, talk about what the hell's going on inside of the multiverse, and then we'll just get running. I mean, running. Like today, we should just run. And, you know, I've been thinking about this some more and more in regards to what's going on. It's like, why are we hitting timestamps and all kinds of weird shit when we can just be running through everything that needs to go on? Anyways, that's probably me just doing a tangent. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do this right now. Let's go ahead and get into some of the news aspects of life, because that seems to be important.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. The death toll from Monday's magnitude 7.4 earthquake in Western Colombia has passed 200, as rescue teams race to reach survivors still trapped under collapsed buildings. It comes after Venezuela was struck by twin earthquakes in June that killed more than 6,000 people, and Monday's Colombian quake was felt across the border. Andreina Fermin has more from Caracas.
This situation is a reminder of what happened in Venezuela in the last month, in June, on June 24, because the situation has been managed in a very difficult way. The Venezuelans were asking the government for help as soon as possible, and the government delayed the help didn't respond as soon as possible as they needed, and also the Venezuelans are still trying to find the lost one in the rubble of the buildings, and they are asking the government to help them to try to get the bodies out of the buildings.
US President Donald Trump's confirmed he switched planes after a NATO summit because of a security threat. James Goodison in Washington says the Secret Service acted on intelligence suggesting Iran was planning to fire a missile at the presidential aircraft as it returned from the NATO event in Turkey.
There's been quite a few security concerns about that plane, whether it's got the technology and the backing to prevent missile strikes or attacks on the president. So on the way home, President Trump said, I'm going to take the old Air Force One for old time's sake. So he boards, so did the press, so did the White House staff, and for all intents and purposes, everybody on that plane thought they were travelling with the president as it flew back to Washington.
Former US Marine Robert Gilman has travelled back to the US after Russia agreed to release him from detention, with US President Donald Trump saying he spoke to Gilman on Tuesday. Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a pardon decree on what officials describe as humanitarian grounds, following weekend negotiations, with no prisoner swap or concessions made by Washington. Gilman's been held for more than 4 years after an incident on a train to Moscow. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
President Donald Trump said that the release had taken place after he spoke to the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He said that Russia had agreed to release Robert Gilman. He also said that it was very much on a humanitarian basis. Reports are that Robert Gilman is very ill and has been unable to properly eat or communicate. He was arrested more than 4 years ago for allegedly beating a police officer, that taking place while he was reportedly drunk.
And parts of Europe are waiting a solar eclipse. Experts say it could be the most dramatic eclipse witnessed on the continent since 1999. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at the belated acknowledgement by top US government officials that the country's weapons stockpiles are badly depleted as a result of the US war on Iran. It's one of the reasons why President Trump shelved his threat last week to engage in what he called the decapitation of Iran. Peter Apps is a defense columnist for Reuters and author of the book The Next World War, The New Age of Global Conflict and the Fight to Stop It.
This is a story about a whole variety of things, but I think partly it's a story about AI. So when the Pentagon was doing its, or US Central Command was doing its kind of assessment of what to strike in Iran, they plugged in a system called Project Maven, and it generated a very long list of targets. And they then hit the best targets on that list with their most expensive weapons, Tomahawk missiles and so forth. The Iranians then fired a bunch of missiles back. They shot those down with very expensive interceptors. And then, of course, it turned out that they hadn't destroyed as much of Iran's initial missile and drone capacity as they'd hoped, and the missiles kept coming. And so they've kept on firing the interceptors, and now they're running out of both. It's a really quite simple story about not having that many of something to begin with, and then being left in a slightly dicey position at the end when you discover you started to run out of the things that you thought you would have won with.
President Trump claims the US has plenty of weapons to meet its various international obligations, but that's not what Pentagon officials have told lawmakers in classified briefings.
The main news again. The death toll from Monday's magnitude 7.4 earthquake in Western Colombia has passed 200, as rescue teams race to reach survivors still trapped under collapsed buildings. US President Donald Trump's confirmed he switched planes after a NATO summit because of a security threat, and parts of Europe are awaiting a solar eclipse. Sections of Iceland and Spain will have the chance to witness a rare total eclipse. And that's the latest feature story news. William Denslow reporting.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into it and exactly what exactly is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that just seems to be the thing. So let me ask you a weird question here, because this got sent in, and I'm kind of curious on your thought. How likely is your BFF to hook up with your ex? Yeah, I know, not the traditional safety show question. According to a new survey of 1,500 singles conducted on the dating app Plenty of Fish, 1/3 of singles have had a friendship end because someone else dated their ex. Well, I will probably, I don't know if I should go back into this, but let's say this, because I guess this is kind of one of the things here. I've had one friendship where a guy friend of mine broke up with the girl, and he had a roommate, and the girl moved rooms down the hallway. That was one scenario that I remember occurring pretty vividly, and they were supposedly close friends. That friendship ended soon. And then I know someone else that they were married, and they divorced the person that they were with first, and their best friend ended up moving in almost directly shortly thereafter, in regards of that marriage breaking up, which I thought was kind of weird, but this whatever. It is what it is. It's one of those strange things. It is not Freeform Friday. It is Whip 'em Out Wednesday, so it is getting interesting around here as we are talking. So there you go. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So I don't know how it's going around where you're at, but this is definitely this week has become a school starting week for most people around here. It seems to be what's going on around here. So in respect of all this, maybe it's back to school montage time.
Back to school time.
Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone?
I'm staying in school.
Back to school season is around the corner, and I know that school sucks.
Get the school supplies that we need on the list.
I have to go back to the one place that sucks out all of the happiness out of my life, and that is school.
So there you go. A lot of people happy, not happy, that kind of thing in regards of what the hell is going on with schools. I mean, it's kind of a lot of it has to do with what you make of it. It's just kind of the way that it goes from time to time. So there you go. So as we are talking about schools, let's do this for a moment.
Not something I normally do.
Kids will be going back to school soon if they haven't already started this week. And here are some school zone safety tips. Slow down to about 15 miles per hour in school areas regardless if lights are flashing or not. Avoid distractions of cell phones and other devices that can take your eyes off the road. Drive with headlights on even in the day. Kids and other drivers can see you better. Look for safety patrols, school buses, and other signs that children could be in the area. Scan between parked cars and other objects for children who might dart in front of your car, and make sure the children get to the bus stop on time and stand far from the road to avoid rough play. And if you think that the bus stop is a dangerous place, talk to your school board to change the location, and don't pass in a school zone. Reports that violators of school zones do not confront them on the road. Simply note the license number, describe on a description of the car, and time that you observe the vehicle endangering the lives of children in your school zone, and turn the information into the police department. Speak out if you feel your zone is unsafe, and talk to the school principal. Call your chief of police, mayor, and township supervisor, and go to your school board meetings and speak up and write the letter to the editor of your newspaper. Hold on, that sounds like a lot of steps there. And safety tips for children in a school zone. Teach your child to give the 5 giant steps away from the front of the school bus before crossing the street. That way the driver can see your child. Make sure your child waits for the driver's signal and it's safe to cross from the bus. Teach your child to look left, right, left after getting out of the bus to make sure that the traffic is stopped. Teach your child to ask the bus driver for help if they drop something under the bus. And make sure the child's clothing has no loose drawstrings and backpack straps are short. And avoid catching clothing in handrails or bus doors. And teach your child to report to you dangerous situations in their school zone or on their school bus. So I guess that is some information to take a look at as we are talking. What do you think here? No, seriously, what do you think? Because it becomes interesting for sure. So there you go. I'm going to give you a couple of weird ones quickly before we get into some of the normal stories, if I may put it this way. A viral TikTok video is proving that the size isn't everything, and the clip shows a fearless house cat standing its ground as a black bear wanders onto its territory. Instead of running, the cat stares at the bear and refuses to back off. After a brief standoff, the bear decides it's not worth the hassle and turns around, leaving the cat clear winner of the showdown. The video exploded online with viewers joking that the cats will challenge the bear without hesitation, but panic the moment someone turns on the vacuum cleaner. So there you go. Some things to think about. What else do we got here? Take a listen to this one because I thought this was strange. A Melbourne mom is getting attention for a traditional Balinese ritual after giving birth. Jessica Patra buried her placenta beneath a young tree, and during her 42-day postpartum confinement, water the plant with her breast milk. The practice is rooted in Balinese tradition and symbolizes honoring the child's spiritual protection, known as Kinda Epa. Petra says that the ritual wasn't just about the tree, it was about slowing down, focusing on her newborn, and reminding people that the new mothers also need care and support. She says the tree is still growing, and so far, it stayed usually healthy through the winter. So I shouldn't say that it's strange, it's different, is really what I should be saying. But yeah, I have never heard of this before. So that's the plan to definitely getting organic fertilizer. Talk about putting your family roots. Forget Miracle-Gro. This is Miracle Mom is definitely what it sounds like. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some more serious business because it seems like we should do that. A new report claims that Ukraine has significantly weakened their air defenses, protecting the lavish Black Sea estate widely known as Putin's Palace. According to the Moscow Times, the Ukrainians have destroyed an electronic warfare system used to jam communication and later damage at least one S-400 air defense launcher, leaving the area more vulnerable to future attacks. The military cited that the reports say that knocking out the jamming system allowed Ukraine drones to successfully target the missile defenses near the compound. The sprawling estate, estimated worth about $1.5 billion with a B, first gained international attention after the 2021 investigation by Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who allegedly it was built for Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin has consistently denied Putin's owned the property. It confirmed that the strikes would represent another symbolic blow to Russia's defense as Ukraine continues targeting high-value military and strategic sites far from the front lines. So there you go. There you go. Some things to talk about, no doubt about that. So take a listen to this one real quick. An American Civil Liberties Union is back to court challenging President Trump's latest executive order targeting birthright citizenships. Rather than filing a new lawsuit, the ACLU is asking the same federal judge who previously ruled against Trump's earlier order to clarify the administration cannot deny citizenship to anyone covered by the existing class action case. One of the new executive orders expands the categories of people whose U.S.-born children could be denied automatic citizenship, including alleged alien enemies, members of the foreign terrorist organization, and certain people acting on behalf of the foreign governments. Another order targets so-called birth tourism. The ACLU argues that the order violates the Constitution and says that the Supreme Court has already rejected the administration's previous attempt to limit birthright citizenships. And the group is also asking the court to fast-track the case back to the New Hampshire federal judge who originally ruled the earlier order as unconstitutional. I almost said unconditional. So, what do you think? I am just asking the question because it definitely becomes interesting for sure. So take a listen to this one. Is too retired Marine and firefighter is suing Gibson Steakhouse in Oak Brook, Illinois, claiming that the raw oysters he ate there in June of 2023 caused severe illness that led to a cardiac arrest and a permanent brain damage. According to the lawsuit, the 44-year-old Joe Belgio suffered oxygen loss after becoming critically ill and has remained hospitalized ever since. His attorneys say that he's expected to be bedridden and required lifelong care. The lawsuit also named seafood supplier, alleging that the doctors found shellfish-related pathogens in the system. Gibson Steakhouse denies responsibility, saying that its own investigation found no evidence linking the restaurant to Belgio's condition. Meanwhile, his former fire department and supporters are raising money to help his family with his ongoing medical expenses. So there you go. How do you think that they made that determination? That's going to be the question of questions for sure, as we are talking. So there you go. Take a listen to this one real quick. President Trump has reportedly used an elaborate deception during last month's trip to Turkey to Britain after U.S. officials received what they described as a credible Iranian assassination threat. According to the reports, the Washington Post and the New York Times, Trump publicly boarded the older Air Force One in front of the cameras and then secretly exited the aircraft in an airport catering truck and transferred to a smaller Air Force C-32A for the flight to Britain. The older Air Force One continued as a decoy, and the members of the press, even some White House staff, believing the president was still on board. Reporters were reportedly instructed to keep their windows shades closed during the flight. After arriving to Britain, Trump appeared from the decoy aircraft, giving reporters no indication that he had traveled on a different plane. The White House did not dispute the security measures, saying that the president faces ongoing threats and that they use every available tool possible to protect him. So there you go. I mean, is it a bad thing now? I mean, it's one of those things that I guess it comes as part of the gig. I will definitely never understand what it's like to be the president, because that would not be an office that I would ever want to seek, just in case, as we are talking. Okay, so take a listen to this. Representative Jamie Raskin, the top department of House Judiciary Committee, has launched an investigation into the Department of Justice failed prosecution of former Olympian David Hearn, who has accused damaging the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Hearn has charged with felony vandalism earlier this year, but prosecutors later dropped the case after a new Interior Department record showed that the damage was actually caused by the faulty renovation of the work, not Hearn. A federal judge dismissed the charges last week. Raskin is demanding documents and communication between the Justice Department and the Interior Department and the White House to determine how the case was unfolded. He questioned whether the prosecutors knowingly pursued charges against an innocent man or whether the Interior officers, or officials better saying, concealed evidence of the botched $15 million renovation project. The investigation follows President Trump's public criticism of the U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, who dropped the case, insisting that vandals, not construction flaws, caused the damage. So there you go. What do you think here? Definitely some interesting time as we are talking about some of this stuff. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this one. If you recently stocked up on guacamole or salsa at Target, check your fridge. Taylor Farms has recalled several dips and fresh products after jalapeno peppers supplied from a farm in Sonora, Mexico, were linked to the possible salmonella contamination. The recall includes Target's taco dip, mango pico de gallo, spicy guacamole pico de gallo, and authentic guacamole. The expiration dates are between August the 7th and August the 14th. The affected products were sold in select states including Texas, Ohio, and Florida. The issue extends beyond Target. Products made with the same contaminated jalapenos were also at Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Walmart, Kroger's, and supplied restaurant chains including Chipotle and Qdoba. So there you go. Talk about thinking that the spices hit you in a different way. That will definitely change some things up for you. Duh. Is what it sounds like. So there you go. Take a listen to this one real quick. President Trump gave his clearest indication that yet he won't be able to seek a third term, telling reporters, "I'd love to run, but the law is very strong." Asked about repeated comments and Trump 2028 jokes, Trump acknowledged that the 22nd Amendment, which limits presidents to two elected term stands in the way, though he stopped short of giving direct no when pressed. Trump has frequently teased the idea of another run, often joking that a third term would even be better, but this latest comments appear to recognize the constitutional barrier. Take a listen.
At the dinner you put on at Trump 2028, are you serious about taking the third term?
Everybody asked me that question, and you know that the law is very strong on that. I'd love to run, but the law is very strong. I get asked by well, even tonight they're screaming at the event, 2028. No, everybody wants me to do it, but the law is very strong.
Okay, everybody wants me to do it, but the law is very strong is the comment there. What do you think, real quick? If that was a possibility, and this is just a question of questions, of course, would you want to see a third term? I'm just asking because that is part of the questionnaire that does pop up as we are talking. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there for sure. Take a listen to this real quick. A veteran Maine lifeguard has a terrifying close call, and what he believes was a great white shark grabbed his rescue buoy and pulled him several feet underwater off of the Scarborough Beach. Greg Wilford, 71, who has worked as a lifeguard there for 55 years, was swimming around 1 p.m. when suddenly he felt being dragged 5 to 6 feet beneath the surface. At first, he thought that his rescue buoy had become tangled with a boat propeller, but quickly realized that the shark had bitten the flotation device, likely mistaking it for prey. After unclipping the buoy, Wilford sprinted back to the shore, later jokingly that he could have been beaten Michael Phelps that day. Witness said that the shark launched the buoy several feet into the air before letting go. The beach was temporarily closed while officials searched the area with drones and jet skis. When reopened, swimmers were restricted to waist-deep water. Take a listen.
It was like if a rope got caught in a propeller and the boat was pulling you. Once I realized that it wasn't a boat, then I was fighting for my life. I knew I was in trouble, so I slipped out of the harness, and then I popped up to the surface and started swimming as fast as I could back to the beach. I'm not saying I'll never swim the buoys again, but right now I won't.
Yeah, I would definitely think that something like that would change the way that you look at certain things, and you might have some questions in regards of the stuff that's going on going forward. That is for sure. I mean, what do you think about the whole mess? Like, seriously. I look at it from the standpoint of going, probably going into what we would call shark waters would not be the best idea for me in regards of what's going on. I am just saying here, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I definitely would say that it's definitely some interesting time in regards of doing some of that stuff is the way that I would definitely look at it. But that's just my thought process when it's all said and done. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into that thing that we call our main story, because it definitely seems like it's time to do so. So let's do that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so some main story time, and let's talk about this, because I know that there are questions that come out from time to time and some things that we should probably get into and talk about and all of that kind of fun stuff. So let me ask you a strange question. And this is going to become one of those weird ones, so you're going to have to bear with me for just one moment if you don't mind.
Duh.
So, have you ever taken one of these personality tests? I'm talking about, it's one of those tests that will tell you, like they have like the DISC tests, and they have like these different tests that tell you how your behavior is. And it normally kind of gives you a breakdown into two aspects here. The person that you are when you're around people, and the person that you are when no one's around. Are you familiar with this? Like, does any of this sound kind of familiar? Because if you are familiar with this is not very uncommon in regards of talking about, but it becomes one of those weird aspects here that it's one of these things that people do. And you'll notice that if you've taken one of these personality tests before, that it does kind of give you a percentage breakdown on how you behave in front of others compared to how you behave when you're by yourself. And the weird part about it, or the interesting part about it, is probably where I should probably go more than likely here, is that, well, when we go through the information, it's interesting to see how people are and how people perceive themselves and how people will do things when they're by themselves. And sometimes it's a higher rating depending on when you're alone, or maybe it could be a higher rating when other people are around, just depending on what's going on. Now, you're probably sitting there going, why are you talking about this in a safety show about a personality test and all this other stuff? There's a reason behind it. I want you to think about some other things real quick. So if you've taken one of those personality tests, you probably have some score, some metrics that kind of say the kind of person that you are, according to what the system told you. Some people will even argue that that's
pseudoscience
in regards of what's going on. And that's okay, because that's not what we're trying to get to this morning. What we're trying to talk about is the following. I want you to think about this for just a brief moment in time. How often do you see your organization changing depending on what the environment is of what's going on? So what does that mean exactly? Let me kind of give it to you in this format. Let's say, for instance, you're at a bigger organization and you have a regional manager that's coming by or a division manager that's coming by. Does your work environment behave differently knowing that X person is coming in? Not how you feel personally about it, but is there what I call the dog and pony show when these people are coming in to take a look around? I only ask because it seems to be a common practice for some things in regards of what happens. So if that be the case, how does it work within your organization? I'm just asking because I would like to have a better understanding of it. And the reason that I want to have a better understanding is because if we're able to notice this, that we act differently, if we were putting your organization through one of these charted conversations on determining, let's say, quote unquote, the personality of what is going on within your workplace, how different would it be? Like, how different would it be in comparison to what you expect? I'm just asking because that will tell you if that dog and pony show changes the way that your organization is. Now, if we're talking about a normal day inside of your workplace, does the dog and pony show change? Does it exist? Or is it just work as it's going on? Now, we can sit here for a moment and have that weird conversation of work imagined as work performed, because you could have those combos and go, is this exactly what occurs inside of the workplace? And my conversation to you is yes. Things change within your system based on how you're looking at it. Think about this for a moment. Think about that you're at your workplace, and to you, you've had a day that was 100% successful. Got it? 100% successful. Shit, we could even go down to 90% successful. Everything seemed to be hitting on all cylinders. This is a day that we can talk about. Now, I want you to think about this. There was an injury that occurred, but it was never reported. And you went back and you looked at the cameras. You monitored the system, and you realized that the incident that occurred was recorded. And you have it on camera. Even though your speculation was you had a 90 to 100% day of everything being great, things did not turn out good. And you probably sit there and go, well, why would you say that? Well, I'm saying that because of the following situation. I'm saying that because that recording changed everything. So it was an incident that happened in real time, but it was a delayed consequence. It was a delayed issue until the time that it was brought up to you. So here's my question to you. Did the personality test for your system work out well, Or did the personality test for your system entirely fail you? That's kind of the weird thing that we live in. Sometimes things do not go the way that you imagine, and things are happening within your organization that you'll probably never know about unless you're able to revisit and think about that for a moment.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Radio Big, mastering the art of putting music on shuffle. Radio Big.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
Expecting to hear from you, darling, despite all the distance we keep. I don't want to say that I am broken hearted when I hope that you still want me.
Okay, here we go. We are currently 45 minutes past the top of the hour. This right here is a song called Love Hurts by a group called Wilds. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Go ahead and give it a little streamer-eamer action. Tell me what you think. Because definitely a good time when it's all said and done, that is for sure. Because love hurts. That's definitely what it sounds like. Anyways, we'd like to thank Wilds for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Well, let's continue down the path here, if you do not mind, because that will be definitely something to talk about as we are going. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Go to that website. It can change a lot of things for you. No doubt about that as we are talking. Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about some days of the year that you can celebrate right now. Today is National Middle Children Day. The day honors that in between your child and the family. Depending on the size of the family, sometimes more than one falls between the firstborn and the baby of the family. Many believe that the birth order plays a pivotal role in the personalities of the children. The middle child syndrome states the firstborn is often the leader and the role player. And meanwhile, the youngest earns the title of the baby of the family. Therefore, the middle child also remains undefined. So there you go. Also, today is National Vinyl Record Day. Most will agree that vintage vinyl is a classic as the bands themselves. The day encourages to listening to all kinds of music on vinyl. So there you go. Also, something was sent to me, and we'll talk about it on this one. Do we want to talk about this? I think it's such a weird one to talk about. Let's talk about some people that died today. Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. died back in 1944. Ian Fleming, who was the writer and creator of James Bond, died in 1964. Henry Fonda died in 1982. Loretta Young, 2000. Enos, country slaughter baseball player, 2002. Merv Griffin died in 2007, and Lauren Bacall died in 2014. Yeah, I know. That's what we're talking about this morning. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's do something a little bit more positive in our life, and let's go ahead and bring in some John Small and let him tell you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of Jay'sCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Adam. Atticus Finch from Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird said, "The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience." I love this. I agree with this too. Nobody else can make you do the right thing or the wrong thing. If you do something wrong, it's on you. Someone else might have invited you to join them for the shenanigans, but you said yes and you did the wrong. You can't blame them for your actions, but if you're making good choices, that's also on you. Nobody else can make you do the right thing. It's a choice that you make. and I hope you make the right choice most of the time. I've been on both sides of both of these. I've been tempted to do things that I knew were not right, but I've also been there to do some good things too.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
President Trump says White House Staff Secretary Will Scharf will become the new White House counsel, replacing David Warrington in September.
Scharf previously served as a federal prosecutor and represented Trump in several cases, including before the Supreme Court. His appointment comes as the administration prepares for a closely contested midterm election and continuing legal battles. Kyle Norris reporting.
U.S. health officials are proposing tougher oversight of food additives, requiring manufacturers to notify regulators before introducing new ingredients into packaged foods.
The proposed change would force companies to submit safety findings for new ingredients, instead of relying solely on their own assessments. Federal officials say the move could give regulators earlier warning of potential risks. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A deadly Houthi attack near Yemen's Red Sea port of Mocha is adding another threat to shipping already disrupted by the wider Middle East conflict.
Local officials say 7 people were killed and 30 wounded in the attack, underscoring continuing danger near a key maritime route. The violence could further complicate commercial shipping and efforts to stabilize regional trade. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A senior Republican lawmaker is urging the Trump administration to keep restrictions on advanced computer chips reaching sanctioned Chinese companies, citing national security concerns.
Representative John Moulinaire says existing export rules need strict enforcement to prevent sensitive technology from reaching restricted firms. His warning adds bipartisan pressure on an administration facing questions about technology sales to China. Liam White reporting.
Iran is demanding major concessions from Washington before reopening the Strait of Hormuz, deepening a standoff threatening global energy supplies.
Tehran wants sanctions lifted, frozen assets released, and compensation for war damage before restoring shipping through the vital waterway. The demands are dimming hopes for a quick reopening and keeping pressure on energy markets. Chris Anderson reporting.
The Senate has delayed a major cryptocurrency bill until September, reducing the chances that Congress will establish new digital asset rules this year.
Senators postponed the Clarity Act vote after disagreements over money laundering safeguards, stablecoin rewards, and ethics rules. Supporters are pushing for another attempt, but the election calendar leaves lawmakers little time to reach a deal. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Britain and France are preparing for another severe heat wave as temperatures rise across Western Europe, raising fresh health and wildfire concerns.
French forecasters expect southeastern temperatures near 40 degrees Celsius, while Britain has issued an amber health alert. Officials are warning of greater strain on vulnerable people as drought and fire risks continue across the region. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Ukraine and Russia are trading deadly strikes as attacks damage major infrastructure and raise new concerns about the safety of vital food exports.
Ukrainian officials say Russian attacks damaged Odesa's port, while fighting also killed people in Kharkiv and Belgorod. The widening strikes threaten shipping routes and could create new pressure on global food supplies. Gary Beck reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio Big.
Okay, so there you go. Let's get back into it in regards to the things that are going on. Let's talk real quick about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1851, Isaac Singer granted the patent for the sewing machine. In 1898, Hawaii formally annexed to the U.S. In 1969, the Bolton Celtics sold for an NBA record $6 million. In 1974, the Yankees' Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford became the first teammates elected to the Hall of Fame at the same day. In 1982, actor Henry Fonda died. In 2016, American star swimmer Katie Leonard sets the world record of 8 what is it? Let's see. 8 minutes 4 seconds to dominate the women's 800-meter field in the Rio de Janeiro Olympics. So there you go. And in 2017, Donald Trump at a press conference at Trump Tower says that there is a blame on both sides in reference to the violence in Charlottesville, provoking widespread condemnation. So there you go. Those are some things that happened back on the dates that I listed. Also, if you're looking at some celebrity birthdays going on today, George Hamilton turns 87, Dana Ivey turns 85, Mark Knopfler turns 77, Bruce Greenford 70, Sir Mix-a-Lot turns 63 today. Peter Krause turns 61, Pete Sampras turns 55, Casey Affleck turns 51, and Maggie Lawson will turn 46 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays that are going on. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Don't forget to get your ticket for tonight's Powerball drawing. The jackpot is at $1 billion. So there you go. Here's last night's winning Mega Million jackpot for $80 million. It was 1, 20, 30, 46, 68. The Mega Ball was 17. Take a listen to this. The former President Barack Obama is launching a new podcast focused on one of the biggest passions, which is books. Titled A Great Book with Barack Obama, the series will feature conversation, influential books, and they'll be shaped the way that that people think to see the world. Obama says that they're reading the power that changes lives, especially at the time when fewer people are picking up books. He'll discuss his favorite titles like The Fire Next Time, Song of Solomon, and All the Pretty Horses, and Friends and Guests. The podcast premieres on September the 24th, joining Michelle Obama's growing presence in the podcast world. So there you go. Some things there to talk about. Also, smoke from a new wave of Canadian wildfires is once again drifting across the United States, reducing the air quality in the Pacific Northwest to New England. British Columbia declared an emergency after several new fires erupted over the weekend, forcing thousands of evacuations near the U.S. border. The largest blaze has burned more than 33,000 acres and remains out of control, while the main 80-year-old woman died trying to escape from the fires. Canada has placed a military standby to assist the firefighters in the efforts and the forecast, and say that the smoke will still continue to spread to the Midwest, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic as part of the Southwest thought of the middle of the week. So there you go. Some things to talk about. There is no doubt about that. Well, anyways, that's going to pretty much end our time together. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm for the next couple hours or so, talking about the world of music and entertainment, if you want to go over there and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. So there you go. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom for today, the truth is easier to remember. Keep that in mind. And if you need some words of advice, add cinnamon to popcorn for a sweet treat without a sugar overload. So there you go. Like I said, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come over there and hang out for a couple hours or so. If you don't, that's fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus, as he will be talking about the world of safety consulting. So, a lot of stuff going on there. No doubt about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Love.